Hotel brothers and sisters, Black Power. As always, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors. Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul of the Street Lost Soldiers. You all have to excuse me for the, I'm having a little difficulty with the sound system today. However, I'm still going to go on with the video. But once again, giving honor to the Creator, the ancestors, Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul, my sister, my in-laws, my father, my subscribers, my donors, my supporters, my viewers, my family, and everyone who's fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation, as well as my street law soldiers. Today, I'm going to give honor to the 71st born day of one of the greatest revolutionaries, or possibly the greatest revolutionary of my time, Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad. He's in the line of divine, as far as I'm concerned, with Malcolm, Medgar, Martin, and the rest of the freedom fighters and warriors that go down in the annals of history. And Dr. Khallid Muhammad is one of my favorite heroes, strong black warrior who was non-compromising with this devil. I've never seen anyone in person who battled the cracker and defeated and crushed the cracker in debate and on any other level as Brother Khallid Muhammad done. So we must give him much credit for that. And for those who don't know anything about Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad, you need to look him up. Go and look him up and you'll find how great of a warrior that brother was. And I'm just going to briefly go into, the story of Dr. Khallid, who was born January the 12th, 1948, and made his ascension February 18th, 2001. He was murdered. As my research and investigative intuitions have concluded, Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad was poisoned. And I'll explain to you, and you may get a clearer understanding of why I have come to that conclusion based on my research and investigation. However, Khallid Muhammad was a vicious warrior. He started preaching, being a Christian preacher. Started being a Christian preacher at the age of 5 in Houston, Texas. He used to be out front of his mother's house with his Bible in his hand at 5 years old, stopping cars, preaching about the gospel of Jesus Christ to passengers, and he was destined. He had that Nat Turner energy, and he was destined for greatness. He was sent here to participate and play a major part in the liberation and salvation of the black nation. Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad, who I had the pleasure of being around, and when he visited Washington, D.C., and along with Brother Steve Coakley and a few other brothers, we will all be up on Georgia Avenue where the historic Coward University is at. And we used to build on the street corners, recruiting, and I was just a student and I was just quiet. All I used to do was just keep my mouth shut and just listen, and I would mentally eat in terms of information. And I stayed in the Library of Congress as a result of being around these brothers. Steve Coakley was the ultimate black researcher that the world has ever seen. There's been no one that I know of that was a better researcher than Steve Coakley. But nevertheless, Khallid Muhammad was the warrior. Khallid Muhammad was the pit bull. You know, he was the roughneck. He was the go-getter. He was the national assistant and spokesman for the Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Nation of Islam. He was a devoted member of the Nation of Islam. And he loved Minister Farrakhan as if it was his own father. And Dr. Khallid guarded Minister Farrakhan with his life. As you know, the Nation of Islam follows the teaching of Master Fard Muhammad, who I'm not completely in total agreement with, because this man to me is white. And Elijah Muhammad stated that the white man was the devil. So if the white man taught him, then who was the devil? But I give honors and respect to Elijah Muhammad for what he did bring to the black nation. Because see, you got to understand, everybody brought something to the table in terms of our leaders, warriors, revolutionaries, and scholars. No one brought the entire package. And we need to stop proclaiming that, saying that one person brought everything. No. Everybody brought something to the table. And that's what makes it so complete. And so I respect and honor the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who before him was Marcus Garvey, who before him was Noble Drew Ali. Well, Noble Drew Ali came after the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And then Elijah Muhammad came after Noble Drew Ali, and so on and so on. Then Malcolm, Martin, Medgar, and the rest is history. Dr. Khallid had an intuition and a great connection with the youth. And during the mid-80s and 90s, he connected with so many of our hip-hop artists and street warriors and revolutionaries that Khallid was highly favored among our top black leaders. Here he is with Chuck D and one of the S1Ws, SW1s, whatever, S1Ws, before Chuck D turned white, you know, with Public Enema, because that's what it is now. But Dr. Khallid was a very, very frustrated brother when it came to all of the bootlicking buck dancers and jigaboo niggas that he had to encounter with and debate just to get to the cracker. Malik Zulu Jabaz, who was Dr. Khallid's top student at the time, was a devout member of the Nation of Islam as well. And I'll talk about Malik Zulu Jabaz in a minute. Here, Dr. Khallid always marched in Washington, D.C., in front of the Capitol, the White House, protesting, fighting for the black nation. And the sad part about it is that he had to fight more niggas than whites. Here he is when he debated a cracker, Anthony Hilda, in Los Angeles with his son, Farrakhan Khalid Muhammad, who changed his name to Farrah Gray. And I'll get to his ass in a minute too. That's him right there. You know, who changed his name, turned white, and turned into a cold bitch. He became a traitor, not only to his father, but to the black nation, the black conscious nation as a whole. He's nothing but a piece of shit, a faggot ass boule motherfucking nigga who said that Bill Clinton was one of the greatest moments he had in his life, meeting Bill Clinton, who condemned his father on the Senate and the House floor. Khallid went on the Donahue show in 1994 and tore the Donahue show apart. And during that time, I was incarcerated, and all the power went out when Dr. Khallid came on the Donahue show. They shut all of the televisions off in all penitentiaries because they did not want the black man to see Dr. Khallid peel Donahue's ass. When brother James Byrd was drugged in Jasper, Texas by a truck with white supremacists with a chain around his neck, and they drugged him 2 miles until his head was dislocated from his body. Dr. Khallid went to Jasper, Texas, in the middle of the street with the AK, as you can see here, loaded with the new Black Panther Party, ready to tear up some shit. And they ran sheriffs, police, everyone went into hiding when Dr. Khallid went to Jasper, Texas. And this was in 1998. Khallid was not afraid of nothing. And as he stated, the only thing he feared was God and God alone, which we all should have that mentality. We all should live by that. We should stop fearing this motherfucking cracker who came after us. We are the parents of civilization. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. And these are the things that Dr. Khallid tried to instill into our brothers and sisters. Dr. Khallid traveled everywhere, lecturing, debating, never lost a debate, crushing crackers. He was debating and crushing 2 and 3 crackers at a time. PhDs, scholars, lawyers, priests, rabbis, crushing them to pieces. And so he became public enemy number 1 on white America's hit list. When he made a speech at King College, and the only thing that he done was repeat what he was taught by Minister Louis Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan listened and took the advice of white supremacists and these crackers and these devils from the ADL and the JDL, Abraham Foxman, Irv Rubin and suspended Khalid Muhammad from his post as national spokesman and representative. And everything that Khallid talked about at King College was what Minister Farrakhan taught him. If you teach somebody how to swim, and then when you see them swimming, you condemn them, what does that make you? And that's what Khallid done. Khallid repeated word for word, verbatim, the teachings that Minister Louis Farrakhan taught him. Nothing else. And Minister Farrakhan took sides with the crackers and the devils and suspended Khallid, in which Khallid would never return to the Nation of Islam because Minister Farrakhan didn't allow him to come back. And it was the same history repeating itself with Malcolm and Elijah. But Minister Farrakhan could kick it with the Boule. He could kick it with whites. He could kick it with Scientology. He allowed homosexuals and lesbians to join the Nation of Islam. He allowed whites. He allowed gooks. He allowed spics to join the Nation of Islam. But he couldn't atone with his own brother who would give his life for him. Here he stands with Bill Clinton, the worst enemy to black people to this day. Incarcerated more black men and women than anyone in the history of this country. And Minister Farrakhan stands side by side with Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and Bill Clinton. But you couldn't stand beside Khallid. And you can stand beside the Boule, Jesse Jackson, who played an intricate role in the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. Cornel West, who's a bougie bisexual. Tavis Smiley, who's a bisexual. And you can atone and befriend these motherfuckers, but you couldn't befriend Khallid. And then you go and pretend that you're some Arab, but you couldn't atone with your brother Khallid. And then you call Tyler Perry a spiritual giant. Here is a homosexual that dresses up in woman's clothing, that has sex with other men. But you couldn't work with Khallid. But you could call Tyler Perry a spiritual giant, hoping that he will write you a check like he did T.D. Jakes. This motherfucker here. This is a spiritual giant, brothers and sisters. Come on, wake up. The same thing happened with Malcolm and Elijah. You had niggas that was in the ear of Elijah Muhammad that were jealous of Malcolm. Because Malcolm was going to do some serious house cleaning in the nation. All the hustlers he was going to get rid of that were in the nation. And so, when the opportunity came for Elijah to get rid of Malcolm and eliminate and exterminate Malcolm with the help of the New York police and the FBI, Malcolm X was assassinated. And Dr. King, New Testament Dr. King, who became a revolutionary at the end, stop believing that bullshit about that I have a dream speech. Dr. King said it was a nightmare, and I will be doing something on Dr. King next week. So Dr. King became Malcolm, and Malcolm became King in the end. And we'll touch on that later. But Minister Farrakhan, who was Louis X at the time, was extremely an extremist hater of Malcolm X. Jealous as hell of Malcolm. So he set up the climate of hate to have Malcolm X murdered. Muhammad Ali, who took the side of Elijah Muhammad, but later on recanted and stated that that was the worst thing he's done in his life, was when he turned his back on Malcolm. As you can see, Minister Farrakhan, he was Louis X at the time. You know, the broke face, the broke down mug that he had, because he wanted to be in charge. As you can see, he wanted to have the position, Malcolm's position, so bad that he was willing to have Malcolm murdered in front of his children, his babies, and his wife. And see, this is why, you know, I deal with that too today. Jealousy. You know, whether it's through friends, whether it's through not friends, whether it's through people that you know, even family. You know, because so I know how that hatred and that jealous shit goes. You know, motherfuckers will do anything to see you brought down. You know, because you got some bad feeling motherfuckers with low self-esteem that don't want to see you prosper. And then a lot of you do that, claim to be Christians, claim to be Muslims, claim to be this, claim to be that. But you haters are nothing but troublemakers and pieces of shit. Look what you've done over the history of time, you hating niggas, to our leaders. People that were out to help your ass. Same with Dr. Khallid Muhammad. This is part of his homegrown service. You know, people were bucking for his position too. You know, and it's a sad situation. But let me break something down to you about what happened with Dr. Khallid Muhammad. You know, the woman he was married at the time, Ann Bush, they were living in Marietta, Georgia at the time, and Khallid came to New York to do the last lecture he done was no more Negro stuff. Revolution is the only solution. And it got to the point where he was ironing his clothes at truck stops, his uniforms and things. That's how committed he was. And when he ate Popeyes on the way home. And when he got home, he and his wife at the time, Ann Bush. I never heard of no woman named Ann Bush, but the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, and the Jewish Defamation League, run by Abraham Foxman and Irv Rubin, called Ann Bush their daughter. And so they ate takeout at the house. Khallid proceeded to want to get intimate with his wife. It was a hesitant moment. And then Khallid began vomiting, defecated, urinated on himself, crawled to the bathroom. Instead of his wife calling the paramedics, she put a pillow under his head, under the toilet, and let him lay there for several hours before calling 911. By that time, Khallid had suffered 2 aneurysms. He had some of the best neurosurgeons that were supposed to work on Khallid. Ben Carson being one of them, Uncle Ben Carson. However, to no avail, Khallid was transferred to another hospital, unannounced, very, very quietly, where he made his ascension. Now, when I say poison, ricin is a non-detectable liquid from the castor oil plant that is odorless, tasteless, and it can take you out within a matter of hours. Khallid was one of the most physically fit brothers on the planet, according to the medical examiner, who stated he'd never seen a body as clean as Dr. Khallid's. And so when Khallid made his passing, people were in uproar. People were hurt. And to this day, Khallid is truly missed. Because he tried to work with so many people. Ice Cube, who turned his back on him. Tupac was going to work with Dr. Khallid, and they were going to reunite the Black Panther Party by the Crips and Bloods were going to truce and join the new Black Panther Party, which the gangs in LA are nothing but the descendants of the original Panthers. And so membership would have rose, in which Tupac was running for public office. And so you can understand why these crackers wanted them both dead. And so, before you all began to defend any of the people that I was talking to you about, any of them niggas, which I don't care because I'm telling the truth. Malik Zulu Shabazz, who is nothing. The Black Panther Party is a piece of shit today. They're nothing. They've become political. They become opportunists. They become addicted to the media. Malik Zulu Shabazz stepped down. Hashim Nzinga took over the new Black Panther Party, which he became sort of a fucking celebrity on fucking CNN. Malik Zulu Shabazz is practicing law here in Washington, D.C., Black Lawyers for Justice, in which he doesn't take any cases for free. He's just as bad as the fucking Jews. He hangs out. He's always at the clubs, always trying to fuck the queens. But you're supposed to be a conscious revolutionary, a protege of Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And see, one thing about me, I'm going to put the truth out there. I'm going to tell the truth. Because I am tired of our leaders and our warriors, succumbing so early as a result of people that look like us assisting these goddamn crackers and taking our heroes and sheroes out of here. And as long as we continue to allow niggas to do that, we will never have a warrior. This is why a lot of leaders are reluctant and are leery and paranoid of stepping up to the forefront. Because it's always nigger infiltrators, Uncle Toms, spooks, jigaboo niggas who are collaborators with the enemy in assisting the demise and destruction of our black leaders. And we must put an end to this shit. Example, every time they have a black State of the Union, it's the same niggas. Minister Farrakhan, Tavis Smiley, Cornel West, Harry Belafonte, who sleeps with an Ice 8. I don't give a fuck about him marching with Dr. King. I'm looking at him now, sleeping with a white bitch. The same motherfucking people, because see, they control what them niggas are going to say. They know they're not going to rock the boat because they're boule. These are motherfucking Masons, fraternal order niggas. And see, they won't allow nobody like you and I to come on national forum and let the truth out. Because they are afraid. They are afraid of this goddamn cracker. See, as long as white supremacy is bankrolling your motherfucking nigger ass, you will continue to sell out till you close your fucking eyes. But you have to remember, one day, the tables will turn. Ask Bill Cosby. Right now, he's sitting in the penitentiary wishing he'd never turned his back on black people with the statements he said about poor blacks. Of course, he gave millions to colleges and universities, HBCs, of course. But look what he said about those that were unfortunate, those that were struggling in the hood. And right now, he needs those millions of brothers and sisters that are in the struggle for support. He could really use that right now. Steve Harvey, Jim Brown, Cornel West, Tavis Smiley, Michael Dyson, and the rest of you sellout motherfucking niggas who continue to throw us under the bus every single fucking morning. Steve Harvey.